welcome back to Drawing Stories with me, Sherry Lee Charlton. I'm here in my Chicago studio and I'm wearing a very special little headpiece today. I bought this at the Renaissance Fair last year, and I'm wondering if any of you have been to a Renaissance Fair before. If you haven't, they're a lot of fun. Usually people dress up in costumes and there's all sorts of games and food and art, all inspired by the Middle Ages. So this was a period that was almost 600, 700 years ago. And a lot of stories that we read about today are set in the Middle Ages. So anytime you read something about, a dragon and a castle and a knight, that usually is taking place in the Middle Ages. So I thought today I would show you all how to draw a castle and a dragon. And then we'll create a story on our paper with those two things, and you can add more and more characters and details to your picture or write a story when you're finished to make your story even richer and even more exciting. So let's get started. Make sure you have pencil and paper and any other art materials you want to use. I'm going to finish my piece by using watercolor, but you can color your piece any way you want, or you can just do it in pencil. All right, let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is we want to figure out where we want to put our castle on our picture. So you could do it a couple different ways. You could put it in one corner and have lots of room on either side to put more information. You could have it in the center. You could have it in the front, in the center or the side. For my picture today, I'm going to put my castle in the center and put it on a little bit of a hill. Another thing that you want to remember is we're going to start with basic shapes. So you want to draw real lightly with your pencil. And once we decide on the way something's going to look, then we'll draw darker with our pencil. It makes erasing the lines easier. It also makes the coloring look better because you don't see as many pencil marks underneath however you color it. Another good thing to do when you're drawing houses or architecture, or castles, anything with straight edges, is to have a ruler or something with a straight edge. So anything that has a straight edge that you can use to help you make your lines look nice and neat. I'm going to start with the middle part of my castle. I want to make sure I have enough room for my towers, so I don't want to make it too close to the top. I'm going to put it in the middle, a little bit higher on the page in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first shape. And I'm pretty good at drawing straight lines, but I'm still going to use my straight edge or ruler to help me make the lines perfect. If you don't have a ruler, you can use the side of a folder or a notebook. Really, anything with a straight edge works. All right, so this is going to be the beginning of my castle. This is going to be where I'm going to put the entrance, the door, and have everything go from this central point off. I'm going to draw a little bit of a tower. I'm going to make the top of my tower, because this part's going to be rounded, not straight, a little bit curved, kind of like a rainbow on the top of a rectangle. I'm going to draw 2 towers on each side. They're going to go a little higher than that center square. I'm also going to make the tops of those kind of rounded. And see how I'm drawing nice and light. And if the top of my shape is rounded and it touches the ground, I can make the bottom a little bit rounded too. So it looks like it's actually coming towards me, like it's 3D. And then I'm going to draw one more side to my castle. Now, whatever I do on one side, I want to make it, for the most part, pretty symmetrical. You can add extra towers or flags, but you want to try to keep your castle pretty symmetrical. Remember, that word means it's the same on both sides. So if I draw a tower here, I probably want to balance that by drawing a tower on this side too. And I could even use my ruler to measure about how big it is, so it's the same. Now I'm going to add these little decorative elements to the castle. They're almost like borders that go around the edges of things. You see them used in castles a lot, and that type of architecture to decorate the tops of castles. How I'm going to do that is almost think about stairs. So I'm going to start with a shape that looks a little bit like I'm drawing half of a rectangle, but I'm not going to go all the way down. Then I'm going to go over and do it this about the same length, and then step back up and try to make sure that when I step back up, it's still in line. If it helps you, you could really lightly draw a line across the top. That way you know that your steps will all be even. And you want to try to make them about the same width. And what kind of clues could you put in to your picture to let a viewer who's looking at your picture be able to tell? That could also be the way that you color it. Is it kind of spooky? Do ghosts live there? Is it super bright colors? Does a super happy, friendly king or queen live there? Is it magical? Is there a wizard that lives there? All right, now I'm going to do some towers. And just like little triangles at the top. Try to make these about the same. All right, now I'm going to add some windows. Usually for windows on castles, I like to make them either pointed at the top, kind of rounded and pointed. Those are called Gothic arches. So you start with kind of a curve and you stop with a point, and then you do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to make windows here too, just a little bit smaller so they fit. Same pointed shape. And I can use my pencil to try to line these up a little bit. The doorway, which I'm going to make like a big upside down U, like a drawbridge. And then I might make a couple windows on the sides, like I could make a window over here. Usually castles are places that were used for people to protect themselves. That's why they were made out of stone, and they had drawbridges that would go up and down to protect the people that were inside the castle. So you can add other elements to your castle to make it seem like it's a fortress by you could put bars on the windows, you could put big locks on the drawbridge, or you could make them open. You don't have to make it like a fortress. It could just be a magical palace too. All right, I'm going to add some more details just to make this feel like stone. So I'm going to put lines through my building. Usually how I start is I like to think about like the castle being made out of big bricks. So I might just start by making stripes through. What you want to avoid though is just going straight down to make your bricks. You want to kind of stutter them so they don't all line up, so they look more like real masonry bricks. And you do that by starting with the first line, and then the second line, you don't draw the line right under it, you put it to the side. So it's either to one or the other side of that first line that you drew, and the same for the next line. I'm not going to go right under, I'm going to go next to it to make it look like it's real brick or stone. And then I could do the same thing for the rest of my castle. I might add maybe some more details like additional little border lines. I could put a little bit of decoration around the edges of my windows. So if you want to put flags on top of your towers, you would just start with tiny little lines, and you want to think about which direction the wind is going. So if it's going this way, you want all your flags to be flying the same direction because the wind would be going either one way or the other way. I'm going to pretend like my wind's going this way. So to do my flags, you could do them a couple ways. You could just make them pointy flags like this, little sideways triangles or ice cream cones. Or if you want to get fancy, you can make them kind of rounded like this, and then do the same shape. So you can do it either way. This is kind of the more advanced way to do it, to make it look like they're fluttering. But you can do it just like a little triangle too. Okay, and then I might put some lines that go straight down to decorate my towers too. All right, I'm going to finish up the rest of the details on the castle, and then we'll go on to the dragon. Keep decorating. Okay, so you can see I finished putting all of the details of the bricks on my castle. I added a couple bars to these lower windows just so no one sneaks in. I'm leaving these open. I might add little details in those windows a little bit later. Now I'm going to add some more details to my environment. You could tell the story, like I said, about the way who lives in your castle by the way you draw it. Does it look like it's abandoned and kind of falling apart and cobwebs on it? Does it look fresh and new and bright? Does it look mysterious? Does it look magical? Also, what you put in the environment is going to help tell the story as well. What time of day is it? Is it nighttime or is it daytime? Is it winter? Is it spring? All those things can help you tell a story with your picture. So I'm going to pretend like it's springtime, which it is right now in real life, and I'm going to make it a happy palace with a friendly dragon. Now the dragon I'm going to draw, I'm going to fit right here on the right side of my paper. If you want to put your dragon somewhere else in the picture, that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to put mine here, and I'm going to make my dragon friendly. So I'm going to also decide where my horizon line is. Remember, the horizon line is that line that establishes our point of view, where we're standing if we were here looking at the picture. It also makes everything look grounded when I draw a line that establishes the horizon line. So I'm just going to draw a line through here, and then I also might draw a line under my castle. So for my dragon, I'm going to start with a shape for the head, which is just a circle, and I'm lightly drawing that. Then I'm going to draw a skinny neck that kind of curves like a J. I'm going to draw another circle for the body. I'm going to draw 2 legs off the front of that J shape, 1 back leg. It's kind of like a C, and then I'm going to draw the claws. Add those claws on, my front claws here. Some dragons have wings, some don't. I'm going to give my dragon wings as well. After I finish these feet. Do the head. So we started with a circle, but I'm going to give it a little bit more of a nose. So I'm going to cut into the circle here and add another smaller circle. A cheek. And then some dragon, I don't know what you guess, gills, or you could call them ears. Kind of like a fish fin. I'm gonna erase any lines I don't want anymore, don't need. I might give it some horns. A big eye. I gave it little like nostrils that look like upside down U's. I'm gonna add my wings on to the back right here. After this, I go down the side of the neck. I'm gonna do a line that looks a little bit like an L upside down. So I'll start with a line up and over, and kind of like this fish gill shape here. I'm gonna do the same thing for the wing. I'm gonna go in and point out, in and point out, and then in. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other wing, but you're not gonna see the whole thing because this wing's in front of it. And you could add little details to your wing, your dragon now, or you could add them later when you do color. Back, and then I'm gonna add on a tail. Make the tail kind of curve. And now it goes over my foot, so I have to erase that line. And then the little belly of my dragon. All right, so I have a dragon, I have a castle. Think about what else you could add to create more of a story. Maybe the dragon is guarding the castle. Maybe the dragon lives in the castle. Maybe you draw another character in the window that's friends with the dragon, or the dragon wants to be friends with. At this point, you can keep adding your picture to make this story whatever you want. And don't forget about the area around your castle and in front of your castle. What else can you add to it to make the story more interesting? All right, I'm going to speed this up and finish up, and then I'm going to move on to watercoloring. I hope you have a great time creating your castle and your dragon.